Hello, my dear students. Today we'll complete chapter 2, lesson 2, properties of light, interference and refraction of light. Interference and refraction of light. What does it mean, interference? Interference means that uh, two waves combine together. Two waves combine together. It may be crest with crest or crest with trough. Okay? Light is electromagnetic wave as it transverse wave as it consists of crest and trough as we studied before. Okay, right. Reinforcement of the intensity of the two waves in some position, constructive interference, and weakness the intensity, destructive interference. Constructive interference means what? Constructive interference means that overlapping or superposition of the wave crest of one wave with crest of another wave. Crest with crest. Okay? Or trough with trough. or يا شباب trough with trough. This also is constructive interference. What about destructive interference? It is the opposite. It is the opposite, overlapping or superposition of the crest from one wave with a trough from the other wave. Okay? Fine. This can be represented graphically by wave 1 and wave 2. If these two waves are overlapping or overposition to each other, okay, crest with crest will make constructive interference. The intensity increases to double. Okay, the peaks increase to double, and trough with trough, the peaks increase to double, but in opposite direction, opposite side. Okay, right. What about destructive interference? Destructive interference, crest with trough or trough with crest, it will make destructive interference. Okay, so the peaks of wave will die. Will die due to the destructive interference. Okay. Okay, شباب. طيب. Again, we have two type of uh, interference of wave. Firstly, the first type is what, شباب? The first type is constructive interference, and second type is destructive interference. Okay? طيب. Light interference. We have an experiment here, Thomas Young experiment, or Thomas Young double slit A experiment. We have light source, okay, and a single slit barrier and double slit barrier, double slit A barrier, right? A piece of carton or a piece of opaque material, and it has rectangular slit, and the other barrier has a double slit with rectangular shape. And this screen to receive the pattern of light. Pattern يا شباب of light. Okay. Firstly, we know that the light trapped in a straight line. Okay. Light interference means what? Overposition or overlapping the two waves. Okay. May be coherent or non-coherent waves. Okay. Coherent means that the same phase and the same velocity and the same direction. What are the tools used? We have a monochromatic light source. What does it mean, monochromatic? It has single wavelengths, okay? A barrier with rectangular slit and the barrier with double slit, okay? S1 and S2, okay? And a screen to receive the light. Firstly, turn on the light source and allow the light to pass through the single slit barrier. what will happen? The light waves travel from the single slit barrier will transfer to this double slit barrier. But what will happen in this single slit and this double slit? This one and this two. First and second slit. Firstly, the crest of one wave may be or may overlap with crest with the other wave. In this area, it will make what, شباب? It will make constructive interference. Okay, but in this area it will make destructive interference because it is crest with trap. Okay, this could wave front, wave front. All points or all particles in this curved line have the same phase and same velocity. This could be wave front. Okay, right. So all of this will be all of these points will have the same phase. It will be trough, and all of this will be crest. They have the same phase. Okay, if the overlapping occur between two similar phase, it will make constructive interference and it will produce bright rings, and crest with trough will produce dark rings. Will produce such dark rings. Okay. طيب. يبقى we will receive يا شباب ايه هنا؟ bright and dark rings on the observable screen, and the distance between two successive center of bright or center of dark, it will put delta y. Will put يا شباب delta y. Okay. To calculate the distance between the two fringes, okay, we must calculate the distance between the double slit barrier and the observable screen. It is called R. It is called يا شباب R. And the wavelength of the monochromatic light source, it is a lambda. Okay. And the distance between the two double slit, it is called what, شباب? It is called D. Okay. So to calculate the difference between the two successive fringes of dark or bright equal lambda R over D. Lambda, it is the wavelength of the used light. It is different from the red light or the orange light. And R, it is the distance between the observable screen and the double slit barrier. And D, it is the distance between the two double slit barrier. Okay, طيب. All of these are in meter. Okay, شباب, the measuring unit of this must be in meter. Okay. Right. What does it mean, interference of light? It is a phenomenon of superposition of the wave, superposition or overlapping of the wave that are produced from two coherent sources, causes reinforcement of light intensity in some position called bright rings, and the other position will be dark rings. Will be dark rings. Okay. Right. The two light sources must be coherent. What does it mean coherent? The same wavelengths and same phase. Okay. Interference pattern. It is the pattern of bright rings maxima punctuated with dark rings minimum. Okay. We have different areas. Dark, bright, dark, bright, dark, bright, dark, bright. The distance between two successive dark or two successive bright rings, it will could be delta y. It could be delta y. Okay. This is the center ring. Central center ring always must be bright rings. Okay. Central bright rings always is bright rings. Okay, شباب. طيب. We have notes here. The two slits or two double slit barrier are adjusted, so when the light waves reach to them, they will be act as a same cylindrical wavefront. Same cylindrical wavefront. Okay, so they can act as two coherent source. What does it mean? The word coherent, they produce two coherent waves having the same frequency, same amplitude, and same phase. Okay, the two slits produce, or the light wave produced from the two slits acts as two identical lamps, lamps. Okay, in the same time, same frequency, same wavelengths, okay, شباب, and same phase. Same phase, it means that if it is crest with crest or trough with trough, and the same wave front, same ايه يا شباب wave front. Okay, طيب. يبقى light interference, it is a phenomenon of light which produce from the overlapping or the superposition of two waves which are identical to each other, okay, or two coherent light source, okay. But two light sources have the same phase, and this experiment called Thomas Young experiment, okay. The interference of the waves is two types: constructive interference and destructive interference. Constructive interference is produced in reinforcement of the intensity of light in some areas, bright fringes, and the other area with dark fringes is called destructive interference. Destructive interference is produced from crest with trough, and constructive crest with crest or trough with trough. Okay, شباب. Its conditions, the best difference between the interfered waves equal m times wavelengths, where m is an integer number which it is 0, 1, 2. Okay, شباب, and so on. The destructive interference, it has m plus half wavelengths, where m is an integer number. The first slit and single slit, when they are overlapping each other, we will see that the crest with crest and trough with trough and the crest with crest. يا شباب. طيب. And destructive interference, when the first crest and the first trough, they will produce what, شباب? Destructive interference. The wave will die in this position, and it will produce what? It will produce dark fringes. It will produce dark fringes. The waves that have equal path length give central fringe, which is always bright fringes. Okay, type, because the bus difference between the fringes is equal 0. Okay, so the interference will be constructive interference. يا شباب. طيب, what is the relation between delta y and wavelengths? It will be, يا شباب, direct relation. The slope of distribution equal r over t. What is the relation between delta y and r? It will be direct relation in the slope of distribution equal wavelengths divided t. What does it mean? R is the distance between the two slit barrier and the observable screen. And يا شباب, observable screen, this could be R, this distance. What about D? D, it is the distance between the two slits, distance between S1 and SA2, and the wavelength of the used wave. يا شباب. طيب. The distance is inversely proportional with delta y. As the distance between the two slits decreases, delta y will increase. يا شباب. طيب. In the following, we have monochromatic light source, single wavelength, and two double slit barrier. يا شباب. And the central fringes always is bright fringes. Why? Because the base difference equal 0. There is no base difference between them. Zero order m equals 0. The first order m1 0 plus 1 equal 1. This is the second, and this is the third. Okay يا شباب, and so on. طيب. Point A represents the center of central rings, always right, at which the bus length of the first resulted from the S1 equal the bus length from A resulted from the second. So it will produce يا شباب center of rings. Okay يا شباب؟ طيب. Point B represents, point B here represent that the bus difference between them is equal an integer number which is equal 1 in the first one. The bus difference in the first results from S1 less than the bus difference results from the second S2 by value equal wavelengths. Okay? طيب. And point C, the bus difference of S2 more than A, the bus difference of A S1 by what شباب؟ by 2 wavelengths, by ايه يا شباب 2 wavelengths. Okay. In young double slit experiment, it is preferable to use light of relatively long wavelengths such as a red light, such as يا شباب red light. Okay. طيب. To make the distance between the interference relatively large, and it will be a observable of the dark and bright fringes clearly. Okay, شباب? The red light has the longest wavelength. It is a more clearly than the blue one. Okay. طيب. When increasing the distance between the two double slit barrier and the observable screen R, the distance between the interference fringes increase according to the relation, which is direct relation between delta Y and R. Okay, as the distance R increases, delta Y will also increase, شباب. Okay, as the observable screen moves away, delta Y will increase and it will appear clearly. طيب, we have an example here in the double slit experiment. If the distance between, it is very easy شباب يعني. And this problem, it is very easy. تمام. I think there is no exam without this problem on the interference of light. Okay, or Thomas Young experiment. Delta Y equal. Take care about the conversion between micrometer or nanometer to meter. يا شباب. طيب. Delta Y means what? The distance of the two dark fringes or two bright fringes, and wavelength of the used light, and R is the distance between the observable screen and the double slit barrier, sorry شباب, and D, it is the distance between the two double slit barrier. Okay. In double slit experiment, the distance between the two narrow rectangular slit equal, this is D يا شباب. Firstly, this is D. 0.15 millimeter يبقى times 10 power negative ايه يا شباب؟ times 10 power negative 3. Okay? times 10 power negative 3. And the distance between the two double slit barrier and the observable screen equal 75 centimeter. ان شاء الله كلها تحويلات بقى كده, يعني ايه هتبقى ايه؟ 75 divided 100 equal 0.75 meter. 0.75 ايه يا شباب؟ تمام؟ طيب. And the distance between the center of the two successive rings equal 0.3 centimeter يبقى divided 100 to equal 3 times 10 power negative 3 of meter. يا شباب. طيب, calculate the wavelength of the used light. To get the wavelength, you can use your calculator using alpha x. Okay, wavelength equal delta y, which it is a 3 times 10 power negative 3 يا شباب. delta y times d over or divided a يا شباب r. Okay. طيب this is a very easy يا شباب. طيب we have another example. Example number 2. The opposite figure represents the interference pattern of Young experiment, which was conducted with light wavelengths equal type. What does it mean? This means angstrom. If you want to change it into meter, you must multiply it with times 10 power negative 10 times 10 شباب power negative 10 as you studied in chemistry last year. يا شباب. طيب to be equal in meter. Okay. طيب and the observable screen distance is 120 centimeter يبقى 1.2 meter. This يا شباب, this is the distance R. If the distance between the central ring 0 and the force bright, central and the force يا شباب force bright, how many number of delta y? One, the first one is bright. 2, 3 كده 1 2 3 4. So we have 4 delta y. 4 يا شباب 4 delta y here equal wavelengths times r over يا شباب over d. Using your calculator and solve it with alpha x شباب, but take care from the conversion of centimeter and angstrom and also centimeter and 0.8 يبقى times 10 power negative 2. Okay. Let's do example number 3. In the opposite figure, represent a set-up double slit experiment, which of the distance that are drawn in the figure has to be reduced to make the interference better becomes more obvious. More يا شباب, more obvious. Firstly, the distance R must يا شباب must increases. X1 must يا شباب must increases. Okay. And distance x2 must be decreases. Why? Because we have the relation delta y equal lambda r over d. Lambda r over يا شباب over d. R means what? x1. But he asked about the quantity must be reduced. Must be يا شباب must be reduced. Okay. He asked about the quantities that must be reduced. Okay. To make the pattern or the interference more obvious or more clearly. Okay, so it will be x2 only, which is d. It will be d only, because it has an inverse relation. Inverse يا شباب, inverse relation. Delta y inverse with يا شباب with distance d between the two slits. Okay, طيب. In the opposite figure, try to solve this example شباب. Who can solve it? You have 30 seconds. In the opposite figure, أشباب, in the opposite figure represents the interference pattern obtained in double slit experiment when using a light of wavelengths so lambda. So if the light of wavelengths equal 1.5 lambda is used. Okay. The distance between the two centers of the center of ring and the first bright ring will equal ايه يا شباب؟ From the center, delta y will change by what? In the same A conditions, delta y equal lambda r over A شباب over D. This is the first case. But in the second case, what will happen if we use longest wavelengths or wavelengths longer? Firstly, we must get the A delta y1. Delta y شباب A delta y1. Delta y1 equal what? This is the central ring. Okay. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 4 delta y equal 2 millimeter. 2 يا شباب ايه؟ millimeter. So delta y1 equal what? Equal 2 over 4 يبقى equal half. Delta y1 equal ايه يا شباب؟ equal half. half ايه؟ millimeter. half millimeter. تمام. طيب what about the delta y about a after using the wavelengths more than the first one by 1.5 value. Okay. طيب it will increase or decrease or still a constant. Okay. طيب delta y2 equal 1.5 wavelengths or over D. Why, Mr. R and D doesn't change. Because he used the same device or the same activities or the same tools or virtues to get another pattern with a change only the wavelengths. Okay. The relation between delta y and wavelengths is direct relation. When the wavelengths increase to 1.5 value, so delta y must increase to 1.5 value. Okay. طيب. This value equal this value here equal what شباب? Equal delta y1 delta y1 equal lambda r over d. So delta y2 equal 1.5 equal يا شباب 1.5 times delta y1 which it is equal a 0.5 millimeter. 0.5 يا شباب millimeter. So by using your calculator it will equal 0.75 millimeter. 0.5 يا شباب millimeter. So the answer will be letter A, letter B. حاول يا مستر بقى هنا. طيب. From the relation of delta y with wavelengths, it is direct relation. When the wavelengths increase to 1.5 of its value, keeping the other variable constant, R and D constant, so delta y will also increase to 1.5 value. Okay, شباب, because they have a direct relation. Thank you, شباب. Inshallah, try to solve your exercise from your booklet and contact me if you want to any question, inshallah.